Hello and welcome to the Melanated Veteran Podcast. I'm your host, Miss Mesha, and before we begin, the first order of business is to always share, like, and subscribe to the Melanated Veteran on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We're on almost all major platforms: iTunes, Google Play, iHeart, Stitcher, and many more. Don't forget to check out our website at www.themelanatedveteran.com. So, when I first came here to Houston after I got out of the military, I was looking, I went to a job fair. And while I was at the job fair, I saw, it's called Dress for Success. And I had never heard of it. And so I got some more information from them and decided, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and work with them, like see what they can do to help me. So my guest today is the veteran outreach manager of Dress for Success. Please welcome Miss LaGaydra Murphy.
Thank you, Kamisha. How are you doing?
I am good. How are you?
I am doing well.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this. Because you guys, your organization is amazing, and I wanted other people to definitely know about you guys, especially just veterans. And you've done so much, like even within the past a couple months, like it's been going full force with everything, with Dress for Success and helping with empowerment. So thank you for doing this. Like,
Oh, you are very welcome, and thank you for your support and just being a part of our program. It means a lot, to us to have. I always tell you guys that if you were not interested, I wouldn't have a job. So
right?
thank
Hello.
you.
Most definitely. So let's begin. So, what branch were you in, and how long?
So I was in the Air Force for 16 years.
Okay, 16.
Yes, I went in right out of high school. Like 2 weeks after I graduated high school, I was in basic training.
Oh wow! So straight from okay. Um, so you get out of high school, you go to boot camp. What was boot camp like for you? What was your first thought?
Um, Initially, probably the first thought that everybody has is what did I get myself into? And I think that that's probably how they have it set up. But once I kind of got there, the physical aspect of boot camp was not difficult for me because I was very active in high school and sports and was in shape. So the physical side of it wasn't a problem. I think, like a lot of us, it's a mental of, okay, they're just yelling, like, let me just do what I have to do, kind of block out everything else around me.
I definitely understand. You get that mentality. It's like, okay, just shut up and do what you're told. Let's just
Right.
let's all get through this together.
Right. Don't talk, don't ask questions, don't look around.
Right. But what made you decide the Air Force?
So I knew that I wasn't ready for college. Like I just, my senior year in high school, my parents were making me get up, to go to class and go to school. And at that point, I was just so over like everything to do with school, reading, writing, listening to teachers. But when I got out, I knew that I wanted, I want to make money. I want to do something. So I just felt military was the best. And of course, there was always, to me, just looking at things was just like, oh yeah, we'll do that.
Right. Absolutely. So, out of boot camp, you go into, your duty station, and you really start your career. Tell me a couple of the highs and lows that you had while you were in.
Um, so the highs, of course, was always the camaraderie and the connection that I had with my fellow airmen that were around me, and my lows was just that of missing my family. I think was probably the biggest thing for me. And then once I had been in a little longer, my tour in Iraq, just having to be away from my kids that long.
Right.
So that was probably one of the most difficult part emotionally of the military, because my family is very close knit. So just not being around them all the time.
Right. I definitely understand. And it is an adjustment too, especially like sometimes not being able to see your family, maybe sometimes once a year, just depending on, where you're at. And so, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I was very fortunate. I'm from Texas, and my first base, I was in Wichita Falls, Texas, which is about 2 hours north of Dallas. And
Okay.
I'm from like an hour south of Dallas. So I was about 3 hours from home, which was awesome. So that was my first base, which was really good. Like I said, I was very close to my family. And then I went to Mississippi, which was about a 7.5, 8 hour drive, which was
Mm.
doable. So I was probably going home once a month. I remember after I left Mississippi, I went to Arizona. And by that time, I had been in the military like 12 years. And I told my mom, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm finally homesick, because the first 12 years I was close, so I could go home, just almost any time I wanted, or at least once a month. And I couldn't do that being in Arizona. So yeah, at my 12-year mark, I was like, oh, I'm feeling the military side of it. Like I can't go home.
I definitely get it. I definitely get it. One thing you said too, one of your highs you said was the camaraderie. And again, I've said this before in some of the other guests that I've had, but it's it's just something that a lot of civilians, I don't think that they'll completely ever really understand the closeness that you have with the people when you're in the military. It's the bonds that you have with people. It's just something to it.
Yes, and the one thing that I loved about the military, and it taught my kids as well, is like you said, those bonds and connections. And it was from people from all walks of life. Like one of my best friends, is completely opposite of me, but because we have that bond and that connection, like I feel like I wouldn't have had that opportunity to get to know someone like her if it wasn't for the military. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely agree. Um, so you do your 16 years. Um, how did you get involved with Dress for Success?
I had been out for 2 years and was had decided to kind of look for a job.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, when I first got out, I probably did what most of us do, and I drew my unemployment, which
Mm-hmm.
was great. I just needed a break after working for 16 years. And so once I went there and got in contact with the Texas Veterans Commissions through Workforce Solutions, they would send me emails of, just job openings. And a lot of them, when I looked at them, I felt like were like outside construction work, electricians, things that I wasn't interested in. But I started when I decided that I was going to, really look for a job, because a lot of the things they send out say veterans only.
Mm-hmm.
Like places that are looking for a veteran to work there. So I started, just kind of going through those emails, and that's how I came across Dress for Success. I had never heard of it until I saw that they were hiring, and then I went on their website and looked up the information, and it was just like, really, this is, this is amazing, the things that they do.
Right. Yes, it's definitely amazing. So, for the people who don't know exactly what Dress for Success is, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So, Dress for Success, as an organization, we are worldwide. There's 120 affiliates throughout the world. And as an organization, we provide professional attire to women that have interviews coming up or have just recently landed a job. So that's what all the Dress for Successes do. Here in Houston, we have the Veterans Program. And with that Veterans Program, we meet twice a month and we do, well, of course, right now it's webinars. Everything is virtual. You can access us, on your phone or your computer. And we really concentrate and focus on like the whole person concept. So with Dress for Success, I would usually say with job readiness, but not job placement, right? So if you need an interview, we will prepare you for the interview. We do resume reviews, LinkedIn workshops. We do those type of things. But with the Veterans Program, we started looking in the whole person concept. So not only do we offer those, but we talk about goal setting and PTSD. So we have, professionals come on, life coaches and doctors and employers at the VA to come on and really address those, what I guess you could call veteran issues that are specifically for the veteran group.
I'm an advocate for this because I've been to two of the webinars, and the information is so good. And I was, sitting up here, I had been writing notes and everything. It's just like the whole women empowering. And then you also helped, like the first one that I went to, it was about LinkedIn and
Yes,
how to get your your LinkedIn account noticed. And there were things that were said that I was like, well, I wouldn't have even thought about that. Like, oh, okay. Like, I would have never thought that you have so many different skills that you can put on there. You have like a certain amount, and it's
right.
best to use all of them. And then the whole empowering, and with the mental behavior, mental health, and I was very impressed, and I can't wait for the next one. I'm definitely one.
Well, thank you.
um,
And we do one thing that I always try to tell everyone that participates is it's a veterans program, so the feedback forms, like we listen to your opinion and we, to what it is that you want and what it is that you need. Sometimes like we may have a speaker or a topic that was not relatable, or maybe the information wasn't presented that well. So if you feel like that and you say it, we would take that into consideration. Whether we're going to invite them back next year or maybe invite them to do another a topic. So thank you for sharing that information because we definitely listen to that feedback. And I
yes.
think with everything that's kind of what happened last year, with 2020, was a very eye-opening situation. And when I started this role of Dress for Success, I was a coordinator, and my manager had been at Dress for Success for like 5 or 6 years. And she resigned and moved on. She, when I tell you, had done everything possible that she could do. And so, of course, she left me this pretty layout. We talked about everything. Everything was set up, when she left in January. And then come March, I was like, oh my goodness, what am I supposed to do now? But I
Right.
really had to take some time and say, okay, what do we need to hear? We as women, we as moms, as veterans, as daughters, as society who's stuck in the house, dealing with the pandemic, what do I need? Okay, I need someone to talk to me about staying focused and mental health and how to breathe. Sometimes you just feel overwhelmed. So those topics, that's kind of how a lot of those topics came about last year. And the feedback on them was so great. Of course, we just decided to kind of keep that going.
Right. And like I said, it's so amazing to see what you guys have done. And like you said too, a lot of us were alone in the house, and some of us didn't have anybody that would be able to connect to. And the fact that it's that there are women that have gone through the same things that you've gone through, um, especially being in the military, um, us being, we're kind of like, I want to say, the minority, because most of the time you don't hear about that much about the women military members. And so being able to highlight, like, hey, we're all in this together, we need, it's amazing. It's definitely amazing.
Yes, and that was one of the things as well. I think a lot of women veterans see, in the military, we a lot of us had careers or those, jobs that we didn't want to do once we got out. So
Hmm.
now we're really trying to start over, as a civilian, as an employee. So what does that entail? What does that take? What do I need to do to, to kind of make that happen?
Right. And you are definitely making that happen. So that
Well, thank you so much.
like I said, I've been wanting to have you on here for a while, and because when I say you guys help me, I mean, you guys really helped me, and even to the point where, like, I didn't even know that you guys did, resume workshops. Like, I didn't even know that, and I was like, really? You guys actually did help me, finding a job, like trying to get my resume together, and making sure that I looked presentable. Um, like, there's just nothing like us being dressed and you feeling your best, and
Yes. And that's one of the things too. At Dress for Success, we are a nonprofit organization, and a very small organization. There was only 12 full-time employees. So we kind of fill all shoes. And when we were in a building and actually, had people coming in to receive their professional attire,
mm-hmm.
um, sometimes, I would have to step in and help with that aspect of it. And that was probably, like I said, I just love doing that because it's just something about being dressed up and putting on a suit that will change a whole woman's demeanor when she comes out and look at herself in the mirror. We strategically place all the mirrors outside of the dressing rooms. So when they come out and they see how good they look, there's other people in there to tell them. And just to see that expression on their face. Even now, I think I was on Facebook talking to another veteran and was like, oh yeah, it's 2021. I feel dressed up when I put on jeans, right? Because we just don't really get dressed up and go out anymore. So yeah, it's just something about a woman being dressed up that it definitely gives us confidence. It uplifts our spirit. We can take on the world, right? That's how we feel once we just feel that empowerment.
Yes, definitely. And I do like the fact that you have, because you know what, I didn't even realize that now that I think about it. I like the fact that you have the mirrors out and not inside, because a lot of the times we might look at ourselves in the mirror and being like, no, I'm not coming out. I don't want to show anybody. But the fact that it's like you're having people, because people were like, oh, that looks great on you. Like, people are commenting and really like, and it's the genuine complimenting. Like, hey, I love that. Look at you.
Right.
It's, like I said, I love it. Um, y'all have done so much, and you guys mean a lot to me. And so hey, like you said, it's a nonprofit, so any kind of donations would be helpful. I know, like clothes, and are there anything that you guys need?
Well, actually, right now we don't have any real high need items. because just everything hasn't really started like picked up yet as far as like hiring and job searching. It's slowly, coming kind of full circle again. But it's just we're not there yet as a nation. So once we get there, we definitely will be putting the word out on, hey,
Right.
we need handbags or we need snacks or whatever that need is. But yeah, right now we are pretty good as far as the clothing and everything because things are still pretty slow for us.
Gotcha. So people that are listening, be looking out for, because when things start happening, it's gonna go by, it's gonna go fast. So want to make
Yes.
people know, like, hey, when you can, when it's time, donate. Like, if there's anything, donate. Um, so before we wrap up, can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Yes. So if you want to know anything about Dress for Success, of course, visit our website, and it's DFS, like Dress for Success, but dfshouston.org. And then everything is on there, everything that we offer, all the programs that we offer. And then to get in touch with me, just please shoot me an email. We are still working remotely. So I'm home most days. I do go in the office every now and then just to kind of get a change of scenery. But my email address is LaGaydra, and that's LAGAYDRA at dfshouston.org. And if you didn't catch that, you can always ask Mesha. She knows my information.
Yes, and I will definitely be putting all you got the information for everybody when the episode comes out, so you will all have the links and everything for that.
Oh,
So
good. Thank
I
you. Thank
want
you for
to.
spreading the word and just letting a lot of people know about us. I think one of the hardest things with the transition is when we get out of the military. I think now they have like this mandatory TAPS, which is a transition assistance program.
Mm-hmm.
I went through it, but I felt like, at the time I didn't know, of course, but it's a lot of military people telling us what to expect in the civilian world who haven't been there.
Mm-hmm.
So once you get out and you make that transition, I would just encourage you to look up any local veteran service organization in your area. So you can just Google veteran service organization and it should pop up. But get in contact with any one of those organizations and they will be able to help you more with like that transition. Where do I go for resume help? Who's hiring for veterans? How do I, get my benefits or apply for my benefits? So that's the veteran service organizations are definitely in the community and they will help with that transition.
Yes, definitely. Because it can be overwhelming, but knowing, okay, this is where I can go and they'll help, like people can help, hey, if I'm all about that. So, like she said, check out, veteran services, check it out. So I want to thank you so much, LaGaydra, for coming on the show. You can find me at the Melanated Veteran on Facebook and IG. Again, don't forget to check out the website, or my website, www.themelanatedveteran.com. I am your host, Miss Mesha, signing off, saying embrace what makes you, you.